Shabbat Shalom, 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 Chaverim. It's so good to be with you here. Those of you who are joining us online, those of you who are joining us in person for our Shabbat morning worship. We have a special morning indeed of prayer, of study, of reflection and learning, of digging deep into ourselves and refreshing ourselves and giving ourselves the strength to go out and do our work in the world that we are brought into this world to do. In fact, this week in Torah, we find ourselves at Sinai. We lift our eyes to the mountain and we look for our help. We start on our supplemental sheet, Esa Enai El Heharim.
Esa Enai El Heharim. Try that. Esa Yavo Ezri, and it repeats. Me'ayin Yavo.
that idea that there's help there to be had when we can direct our eyes up, when we can transcend the muck of this world and all of the real challenges that each of us have been experiencing and feeling as a result of what's happened just 1 week ago. That as we do so, we recognize we can't get drawn into this. We have to go higher. We have to be able to see that we have an opportunity not to see the world as it is on Shabbat, but to see the world as it should be. And each day is an invitation to that as we get up and say, Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. God, the soul you've given me is pure. Let me start this new day refreshed and pure. Page 78 in our books. There is a spiritual practice that every single day we are to attempt to recite Mea Brachot, 100 blessings, to call out the blessings in our world as we see them. And there is a practice that this begins from the very moment that we open our eyes each morning, looking for opportunities to elevate, to bless, looking for opportunities to recognize the things that are good and sweet and lovely in our world. And so we have these traditional blessings beginning on page 80 in our book, at the conclusion of which we have the practice here that if you would like to add your own blessings so that we can bring them together as a community and recognize them, we would welcome you to do so. Page 80 in our books.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sechli bina, lechavchin ben yom uvein laila.
Who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim.
Who opens the eyes of the blind.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim.
Who frees the captive.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokev kefufi.
Who lifts up the fallen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rokei haaretz al hamayim.
Who stretches the earth over the waters.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin metzadei gaver.
Who strengthens our steps.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim.
Who clothes the naked.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanotein le'yav koach.
Who gives strength to the weary.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavir sheina me'enai utmuna me'afat pai.
Who sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
Who creates us in the image of God.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani
Ben
b'chorim.
who has made me free.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael.
Who has made me a Jew.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Ozer Yisrael
Who
bigvura.
girds Israel with strength.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Oter Yisrael
Who
b'tifara.
crowns Israel with splendor. Does anyone have a blessing they'd like to add? Gersh.
My daughter surviving her ordeal.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who delivers help to those we love and helps them to grow and strengthen as people. For letting us come back here after a hard and trying week for all of us, and to feel spiritually renewed and refreshed in this moment. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives us this community. With that, we will continue on. There's more opportunities for blessings this morning. You'll have more chances. We continue with Psalm 150, Hallelujah, page 100 in our prayer book.
Kol hanshama tehallel
Hallelujah, hallelujah,
Kol hanshama tehallel
hallelujah, 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 el b'kodsho, hallelujah, b'kira'uzo, hallelujah, b'gvurotav, hallelujah, kerov kudlo, hallelujah,
Shama
hallelujah, 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 kol hanshama hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah,
Hallelujah, beteka shofar, Hallelujah, beneva v'chinor, Hallelujah, betofu machor, Hallelujah, beminim
Every voice.
ve'ugav,
kol hanshama hallelujah,
Hallelujah, Hallelujah,
kol hanshama hallelujah,
Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, betzilzalei shama, Hallelujah, betzilzalei trua, Hallelujah, betzilzalei shama, Hallelujah, betzilzalei trua, Kol hanshama hallelujah, 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 Kol hanshama hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah.
We continue with the Chatzi Kaddish, page 106.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
אמן.
בעלמא דברה חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן.
We rise for the call to worship. The version we're using can be found in the middle of your supplemental sheets. creation. Yotzer Or, page 110.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uborei choshech oseh shalom uborei et hakol Baruch atah
Together, the top of page 111. In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst first for order and then for hope. Author of language and light, help us to use words as you have, to cast light into dark waters and draw out justice and truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot.
Page 112. B'toratecha, v'dabek libeinu, b'mitzvotecha,
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושימנתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך
ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Page 123. The good in us will win over all the wickedness, over all the wrongs we have done. We will look back at the pages of written history and be amazed. And then we will laugh and sing. And the good that is in us, children in their cradles, will have won. Our hearts beat with certainty that there is a day and an hour and a mountain called Zion, and that all of the sufferings will gather there and become song, ringing out into every corner of the earth from end to end. And the nations will hear it, and like the caravans in the desert, will all to the morning throng.
Ya ba ba bim bim bam, ya ba ba bim bam, ya ba ba bim bim bam, ya ba ba bim bam, ya da da na na, ya ba ba bim bam, ya da da na na, ya ba ba bim bam. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, norati lo no sefele, norati lo no sefele, ya ba ba bim bim bam, ya ba ba bim bam, ya ba ba bim bim bam, ya ba ba bim bam, ya da da na na, ya ba ba bim bam, ya da da na na, ya ba ba bim bam. Shirach l'dasha shivchu ge'ulim, l'shimcha asfat hayam, yachad kulam hodu v'himlachu v'yamru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Ya ba bim bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba bim bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya da da na na, ya ba bim bam, ya da da na na, ya ba bim bam.
We make our prayer a physical practice, and so as we read these next words, calling upon God with this image of God being the rock of Israel, Tzur Yisrael, we're told, Kuma ve'ezrat Yisrael, that God should rise in the help of Israel. We rise, Tzur Yisrael.
Tzur Yisrael, Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, uvdechenu mecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go'aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Adonai sefatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot Umevi Gula Livnei B'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umido Melech Melech Meimit Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman Atah L'chayot HaKol Baruch Atah Adonai Mechayeh HaKol.
We continue with our supplemental sheets. On the back, be holy, hear the whisper.
So we're taught at Sinai that it was a lot of thunder and lightning and all this raucous sound, but what if people heard God's voice not in thunder and lightning, but in a whisper? Be holy, hear the whisper, a quiet, gentle voice. Be holy, hear the whisper that helps us make the choice to be like God. To be like God. Be holy, hear the whisper, present every day. Be holy, hear the whisper, it teaches us the way to be like God. To be like God. Hakadosh Baruch Hu. The Holy One, blessed be He. Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Be holy, hear the whisper that guides each word and deed. Be holy, hear the whisper, reminding us we need to be like God. To be like God. Be holy, hear the whisper, the warmth of love's embrace. Be holy, hear the whisper, giving us the grace to be like God. To be like God. Hakadosh Baruch Hakadosh Baruch Be holy, hear the whisper. Be holy, hear the whisper.
We've just spent a good deal of time in our Torah study that preceded our service discussing that in this week's portion in Exodus chapter 19, there's a declaration that God asks the people, should you be willing to accept these commandments, I will take you and make you Am Segula, a treasured people, Am Kohanim, a nation of priests. I think there's something very important in this idea that so much of what makes us unique and special and exceptional is contrary to so much that we're given as messages throughout our ordinary lives. Throughout our ordinary lives, we look at people, we think of them as exceptional individuals because they do things of greatness on their own. This isn't the Jewish way. To be exceptional in Judaism is to bind ourselves together in an eternal covenant and to realize that only by working together are we able to carry out this mission of making our world a better place, of doing tikkun olam, the repair of our world, to bringing about geula, redemption, that we've been praying for so fervently here every single day, and that we had in our Torah just past week when we looked at the crossing of the Sea of Reeds. And one of the markings of what makes us unique and special, one of the things indeed that we as a people with our own exceptionality brought to this world, is the idea of having a Sabbath, the idea of having a special day on which to pause and to reflect, on which to be instilled with those values and to be refreshed in order to go and do our mission. So you may be seated. We continue this Shamru, the middle of page 132.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם.
We pause for a moment of personal prayer. When you're ready, page 140.
Sim,
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 sim, shalom, sim,
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 sim, shalom, sim,
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 sim, shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la sim 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 shalom sim 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 shalom sim 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 shalom tova uveracha.
That feels good. That feels really good. We are moving into Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of the Torah. It's my pleasure to be able to welcome Sue and Jim to help us with removing the Torah from the Ark today. So we'll go ahead and stand, page 244 in our prayer books, Ein Kamocha. Thought for the day.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein k'ma'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai hiluch le'olam bo'ed, Adonai oz le'ho yitin, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, udvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad, echad Eloheinu, gadol Adonenu, kadosh Shemo, gadlu Adonai iti, unerum lema Shemo yachdav, lecha Adonai hagedula, v'hagevura, v'hatiferet, v'hanetzach, v'hahod, ki cho b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki cho b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, lecha Adonai hamamlacha, ve'amid na'aseh lechol nerosh.
You may be seated. Where were we here? We were talking about the special uniqueness of this tradition and this community that we have together here. This community that we call by many names, among them the Hebrew nation, the Israelites, today the Jewish people, and a recognition that the things that are special and unique about us are because we have found ways to come together, to work together, and to support each other as we seek to do the work that God has elected us for in this world. This week's portion certainly reflects that message and that idea, and that in Parshat Yitro, we encounter and are introduced in a much more profound way than we met him earlier, Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, for whom the portion is named. And I said last night, it's funny, but it's true that Jethro, Yitro, is the paradigm of the perfect father-in-law. Why?
I don't. He doesn't get into his business.
Okay, I love what I'm hearing. Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
He comes, he gives sage advice, and he leaves.
Someone was listening last night. That's exactly it. Yeah, he shows up when he's needed. He helps out where he can. And when he's done, he goes home. That's exactly it. And here, what advice he's offering that is most profound is he is giving help to Moses. This is a new thing. This people, they have never had the opportunity to define and create their own structures of governance until this moment, when they're finally free of Egypt, when they have their own liberty. And then the real challenge honestly becomes, because it's much easier living according to someone else's rules, it's much harder living according to the rules and the behaviors that we define for ourselves. And so Jethro is able to step in. He's able to point out some challenges in the way that this community is coming together. He's able to see immediately that if Moses continues down this road, he is going to get burnt out so quickly because he's tired and he's exhausted in day and night. Every single little thing that's coming, everyone's coming to Hakachina Kedem, right? Everyone's coming to bang his tea kettle, as we say in Yiddish, yeah? And that just can't be. In order for this community to work, it must be a community. And that is something that I see some people here who are newer to this community, Temple Kol Ami. We intentionally picked our name, the voice of my people. This is a place where every voice matters. This is a place that in its foundational documents, they asserted not only that I, as the rabbi, get to stand up and have freedom of the pulpit, but so too, there is freedom of the pews. This is a place where the engagement of our members helps us do remarkable things. In our weekly food pantry, where almost 85 families right now, we are giving food to our neighbors every single week, totally, completely run by the strength of our volunteers. This is a community that is able to come together with other congregations. B'nai Israel, the conservative congregation just over in our sanctuary right now, is having their own prayer service, and we can recognize in their motto as well, Kol Yisrael Avarim Zeh B'Zeh, all Israel, we are responsible for one another. We are a community, and there is a path to creating strength in a community through proper structures. The beginning of that story is here in Parshat Yitro, and it's a delight to be able to welcome Sue to share Torah with us this morning. If you're using the Eitz Chaim, the very beginning of the portion, page 432, chapter 18, Parshat Yitro. Havu godel udhenu tenu chavod leTorah ta'amod Sar Miriam Rishona.
Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch Adonai
Baruch
Habarach
le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayishma Yitro chohen Midian choten Moshe Eit kol asher asa Elohim leMoshe uYisrael ha'amo ki chotzi Adonai et Yisrael miMitzrayim vayikach yitro chotein Moshe et Zipporah eshet Moshe achar shiloha va'et shnei banecha asher shem ha'echad Gershom ki amar ger chayiti ba'eretz nachriya v'sham ha'echad Eliezer ki Elohei avi be'ezri vayatzilenu mecheret paro v'yavo yitro chotein Moshe uvanav v'ishto al Moshe el hamidbar asher hu hanasham char ha'elohim vayomer el Moshe ani hanetcha yitro ba'elecha v'ishtecha u'shtei vanaha ami imo vayetze Moshe likrat hodno vayishtacha vayishak lo vayishalu ish l're'ehu l'shalom v'yavohu ha'ohela vaysaper Moshe l'chodno et kol asher asa Adonai l'paro u'Mitzrayim al chodot Yisrael et kol ha'otela asher mitzotam b'derech vayatzilem Adonai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And Sue, stay right there because we're going to offer you a special blessing, having come and presented revelation and Torah for us on this day, on Shabbat, in honor of Shabbat, in honor of Torah, in honor of God. And we use the words that invoke the blessings for our ancestors as we share this blessing with you. Mi sheberach avotenu Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, ve'imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, hu yivarech et Sarah, Miriam. May the one who blessed Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Sue, as you come to have Torah in honor of all these things, that you be protected from all hardship, from all sickness, from all difficulty, that you be given parnasa, sustenance, and that the work of your hands bring blessing not only to you, but to all your brothers and sisters among Israel and all peace-loving people around the world. Ba'avur she'alta l'kvod ha'makom, l'kvod ha'torah, l'kvod ha'shabbat, ha'kodesh baruch hu yishmereha, v'yatzileha, mikol tzara mitzukah, mikol nega ma'achala, v'yishlach bracha v'hatzlacha, v'kol ma'aseh yadeha, im kol Yisrael acheha, v'nomar.
Amen.
Tishrei kochech. May you have strength. May you be seated. Am I missing something? Oh, there's a mask here somewhere.
I got it.
You got your water on the ground too. With the Torah here before us, we offer our most sensitive blessings, our most heartfelt blessings, our blessings for the things that we know we are most in need of in our world, and first and foremost among those, especially in this moment of pandemic and illness and hardship and crisis, anti-Semitism and climate change, and do I need to go on and on and on? We use this moment for comfort, for healing. We as a congregation, we have the practice of sharing names with each other in order that we can together create one great prayer for healing, in the hope that our prayer will have the power to bring that healing that is so much needed to our world. We as a congregation this Shabbat are thinking specifically of Barbara Greenberg, Stan Greenberg, Richard Hightow, Judy Hawker, Bob Caton, Sally Keaton, Bonnie Lackstein, Fred Mack, Pat Mack, Jim, we're thinking of you, Sydney Moss, Chuck Norris, Tony Ricolta, George Ricolta, Merrill Rosenberg, Bruce Sachs, Stuart Trosh, Noah Brad, Mel, Richard, Michael Werner, and Cindy Wilson. If there are others, those joining us in person, would like to add before we begin our prayer for healing, please feel free to do so. And if you'd like to online, please feel free to stick it in the chat box, and we will include your thoughts as well in our prayer. Yes, Eileen. Sorry?
Nathan Malter.
For Nathan Malter.
Susan, Carlos, and Hannah.
Susan, Carlos, and Hannah. Karen, yes.
Marsha Raffel.
For Marcia Raffel.
Jody and Miriam.
For Jody and Miriam. Then for all those mentioned, the many more that go unmentioned, we pray for Refuah Shlema, full and complete healing, as we turn to Nachamu, the bottom of our front page of our supplemental sheets.
Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem, Nachamu.
Torah is lifted and dressed. Janet, can you help me with this a little bit? We rise, page 252, Vezot HaTorah. Yamod Hamavia.
Sue, have you ever lifted before?
He does it, but he can't do it.
Okay.
I can do it.
Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah. Tziva lanu Moshe, Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe, Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha. Eit chayim hi, lemachzikim ba,
Toheha
Meushar Derachecha Darkei
Noam V'chol B'tivoteha Shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha B'nashua Kadesh Kadesh Yameinu Kadesh Yameinu Kedem. We jump to page 282 for Aleinu. Aleinu v'shabeach v'adon hakol v'atek gdula v'yotzem reishit shelo asanu k'goyei harasot ve'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shelo samto kenukahem ve'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Notei Shamayim Ve'yoser Haaretz U'lo Sharikaro B'Shamayim Ima'al U'shchinatu Zo Be'gavhei Meromim U'Eloheinu Einod Emet Malkeinu Efesuato Kakatu B'Torato V'yadata hayom V'hashevota Elevavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim V'Shamayim Ima'al Ve'al ha'aretz Mitachat Eno. We continue together the top of page 287. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
V'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo
Please be seated.
Our thoughts turn to all those special, sacred individuals whose lives have brought blessing to every race and nation, among them ours. Members of our congregation, friends and family, members of our congregation, neighbors of our congregation who sadly are no longer with us in life. We think of them now as we prepare for the words of the mourner's Kaddish. We as a congregation specifically mentioned we are in a period of Shiva. In the weeks following the passing of Sharon Robbins Moran, the cousin of Flora Castleman, our member, as well as Saul Salson, the father of our member Melinda Salson, and Judith Sampson, the wife of our member Michael Sampson. We're in a period of Shloshim for Barbara Jean Warpole, the mother of James, Jim, and Jolie Warpole. And we observe the yard sites of the following individuals which occur this calendar week. They include Herman Avron, Sally Chestnut, Joseph Sherman Cohen, Dan Cord, Francis Donnan, Faye Foreman, Gus Friesen, Sylvia Furman, Marlene Goodman, Matilda Zolkauer Goodman, Esther Hecker, Kenneth Israel, Ida Joyrich, Belle Levy, Moritz Liffman, Ruth Meyer, Lenore Nystein, Neil Pook, Rebecca Roth, Edmi Scappa, Esther Shulak, Albert Scalar, Abraham Smith, Arthur Lewis Sobin, and Sarah Woolock. If there are others, those present with us this Shabbat, are thinking of, feel free to put them in the chat online or mention them aloud here in person. Then, as is the custom in our congregation, we rise in support and solidarity of all those in mourning and all those observing yard sites as we recite the words of Kaddish together, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlik malchutei, b'chayechon u'yomechon, u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mivorach le'olam u'lomei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shemei dekudesha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromam, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen.
You may be seated. Always important to balance the challenge with the good. As we move to Simchas, we think about our members Karen and Dennis Boren and wish them congratulations on the marriage of their son this past week, Joshua Eric Boren to Kara Elizabeth Rifkin on Sunday, January 16th. We also wish congratulations, Mazel Tov, to our member Lisa Rose Schottner, as she is now a National Jewish Book Award finalist for her book titled The Singer and the Scientist. And if there's any other simchas to share from anyone here, call them out. Well, hopefully there'll be more simchas, and hopefully you'll bring them to our services each week, as we love to celebrate with you. It's part of what helps us to be a community. In this moment, it's a real privilege to be able to welcome forward one of our officers, Miriam Leary, to share some announcements with us. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Good morning. I'm so glad to see everybody here. I also want to say to Sue that it was a Yasher Koach. It was a beautiful Torah reading. Rabbi stole a little bit of the thunder of the announcements, but it's never too many times to say, but the TKA Food Pantry is continuing into its 20th month. The community needs persist. We're serving almost 85 families each week, and if you have time to help, spots are available for every Friday morning. Sign up for 1 week or for several. 2 shifts beginning in March, 9:15 a.m. until 10:45 a.m. or 10:45 until 1. Sign up is available on the weekly email or call Deb Ford. If you want her phone number, just contact me. Be sure to sign up for Rabbi Gutmann's Adults Education series titled Can You Handle the Truth? Arguments, Lies, and Judgment. This series will take place on Monday nights on January 24th, 31st, and February 7th at 7 p.m. You can check your weekly email for more information or call the temple office. Are you interested in participating in a Purim Spiel? This year's theme is Ghostbusters. You can contact Janet for more information. The adult Purim Spiel will take place on Wednesday, March 16th. I'm wishing everybody a Shabbat Shalom, and hopefully I'll see anybody else who's going to be joining tonight for Trivia Night. Thank you, everybody.
So I want to wish you strength, Miriam, as you share announcements with us, and the countless other ways that you contribute and do so much that's important and special for our community. Really, we wish you strength. We wish strength to Gersh Blumstein here in the back of the room, bringing our service to our online community as our stream team member of the day. Shkoach to you. We wish you strength as well, sir. To our amazing temple staff and all of our leaders, to all of you who have joined us both online and in person to make this morning's minyan so special. To Janet for a beautiful service as always. Our closing song today, Hine Matov, page 10.
Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim gam yachad, hine matov u'manayim. Shevet achim gam yachad, hine matov u'manayim. Shevet achim gam yachad, hine matov, hine matov. Yadadai, 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 hine matov, hine matov. Yadadai, 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 hine matov u'manayim. Shevet achim gam yachad, hine matov u'manayim. Shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shkoch.